Last year, we did 3 billion tokenization of a Middle East commodity business. In fact, we had like a free pager just with the concept what we want to do.
Free pager.
Free pager. Like,
okay. Today in the BlackBox Show, we have Alexander from Black Manta. That is a business that helps with tokenization, offering different types of services. We will cover how this business is growing right now at 3x per year.
At a zero. We made from 20,000, we did 200,000. If it's expensive, it's good. If they send from Singapore to New York 1 million, it took 3 days. Now it's stablecoin is within seconds.
We will also cover the story of how Alexander closed his first consulting job, which was approximately 200,000 with a princess. So it's many interesting topics which you can apply in your life, in your business. And also you will learn many things about tokenization and crypto space. Good day, Alex. From where did you come from today?
Vienna, Austria.
Okay. And I heard you had some issues with the flight. What happened there?
I don't want to talk about it, actually. It's still annoying. But yeah, I missed the first flight, so I need to reschedule something.
See? Cool. But
I made it.
But you have to come to the Black Box in Latvia to talk about the business, the stuff you do. Cool.
It's about resilience, right? You missed the first one, but you're still going to make it. The podcast is booked.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. So we have your business here, Black Manta. Okay. What does the business do? What do you sell? What's the business model?
So we are, we call it next generation investment banking.
Okay.
Focused on blockchain, or we're using blockchain technology for transaction settlement, but also traditional financial transactions. So from capital market listings, stock exchange listings, for example, to tokenization. We have an advisory business. We are a node operator for several blockchains. So very broad, actually. So we have 8 different revenue streams.
Okay.
But the core DNA of our company is around blockchain.
Okay. But how big is your company, let's say in turnover, employees, some like numbers which you can understand?
We are, I would say, boutique. So we have 15 people in Europe. We have also an Asian outlet in Shanghai and Hong Kong. Mm-hmm. We have a US outlet in Boston and Toronto. Turnover, I don't want to say numbers, but we were able to triple our revenue last year. So we see significant growth. Expecting also significant growth this year. So the market is good for us.
And how profitable is this type of business? Like 10% margin, 50% margin?
That's an interesting question. So we are still raising funds. So we are for growth.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But we could be profitable if we want to. So
you said 8.
But we are currently investing into growth. So I bought 2 companies last year. A securitization vehicle in Luxembourg. We bought a tech company. So everything we have, we are reinvesting into our structure.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You said 8 revenue streams. Which one is basically the main one?
Currently, it's the tied agent model. So we are renting out our license. Uh-huh. So we have a BaFin. BaFin is the German regulator. We are licensed with a licensed investment banking business, broker-dealer. And we can rent our license to other platforms and companies. So, for example, you probably know KuCoin. It's a major exchange.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, by the way.
China, yeah.
KuCoin, yes?
KuCoin. You don't, yeah. So this is a crypto exchange, and everything they do in the regulated business in terms of financial instruments under MiFID II, they're using our license. So they have the MiCA license for crypto.
Yeah.
But if they do futures trading or derivatives or something like that, they're using our license.
And you have this famous BaFin license. I heard it's incredibly difficult to achieve that in Germany.
Yeah, it was actually a pretty smooth and straightforward process back in 2009. 2019, sorry.
Okay.
BaFin, they have 2,500 employees. So the teams are very focused and well educated. It's a big regulator. So back then, we didn't need to explain them our business model or blockchain at all. And 2019, this is like every regulator was struggling with blockchain and crypto, but they understood from the very beginning what we were doing. So it was a very straightforward process with them.
Okay.
And we chose BaFin. So we had a company in Malta at the very beginning, and we were considering going to Malta or Cyprus or also the Baltic countries. Back then it was not easy, but it was easier to get a license. These countries were all inviting companies to get a license.
And when you say license, you mean financial license in order to operate your business?
Correct. Yeah. So they were inviting companies to get a license on fast track. But we chose Germany from the very beginning. I'm not German, by the way. I'm Austrian. But we chose Germany as the biggest regulator in Europe, biggest capital market, because in the end we are in a new business or business model, and it's all about trust. So we need our clients. We needed to convince them that we are doing solid stuff.
And trustworthy as well. I guess Germany gives this trustworthiness.
Yes.
It's a really cool business that these trading companies need you to kind of operate in a specific license. But why don't they get the license themselves?
They could, but it takes time. It's very expensive. And you have like a lot of operating costs. Like, we have monthly reportings to central banks. We have core capital requirements, liquidity requirements, insurances, etc. So it's very expensive to operate this license.
Okay.
I think because it's has to do with finances, with people finances and money, it's extremely regulated business line. And that makes it super expensive. And also you have audits all the time.
Yeah. And so what we are saying, okay, you focus on your business, we take care of regulation.
Okay, interesting. You were founded in 2018, as I understand, right?
Right.
So it's approximately 8 years now. What is kind of been your best or coolest way to acquire customers? Because, business to build, everybody can build a product or a service, but then how to get the money, how to get the customers, what has been working for you, or what are the tactics you are using, which are well working?
Actually, it was very hard at the very beginning. So because tokenization or blockchain was so the average people didn't understand the difference between Bitcoin, blockchain. Everything was in one pot, So, and it was all.
It was also frowned upon, no?
Yeah.
Like this illegal thing.
Yeah. A lot of scams were happening back then. So it was about really getting the trust of your customers. So that's why the license was so important for us. And we focused on institutional and corporate clients at the beginning, or still are.
You say institutional, you mean like banks, something like that?
Banks, family offices, pension funds, something like that.
How do you get them? Like networking, or what was some of the ways?
It's all about networking. Yeah.
Is it changing now, or is it still like networking?
It's changing. People are approaching us. The whole industry changed since 24 months ago, when BlackRock stepped in with Securitize, when they tokenized the money market fund. The whole industry changed. So now all the institutions are approaching us. We are working with them.
For me, interesting, the concept is to understand, I started my business in 2019. To get my first customer, you just had to run ads, get meetings, and 29 people meet, and then one person bought, and I was like, oh, cool, somebody paid me money. For this type of business, like tokenization, like this crypto thing, licensing, how many years or how much money did it take to even get your first sale, or did it even get you some revenue, or what was the story of your first customer?
So it was a lot of education. So we needed to convince people that it's
educating them.
Our first customer was the Thai royal family.
Thai?
Yeah.
The washing company?
No, a Thailand royal family.
Thailand royal family.
So,
okay.
So it was in our second or third month. So in the first year, we did 6-digit revenue.
Okay.
From scratch. It was advisory business.
Advisory.
So I flew to Bangkok only for a dinner. Landing there, having dinner with the princess, going back in the night.
How did you get the meeting with the princess?
Networking, yeah. So this was our first customer. And it was advisory back then in 2018.
It's
And
like consulting, right? When you say-
consulting, yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, it was a lot of, how to say, it was challenging at the very beginning. It was not easy to get people convinced that what we are doing is the future and is proper. So
What do you think made them trust you and trust about the things which you're educating them on?
the license, number one, but also, again, the network. So personal recommendations. So my background, I was in venture capital before. And before that, I was a lawyer. So getting these personal introductions was very crucial for us at the very beginning.
Yeah, I was going to say that your background and the network which you've built then definitely helped on this. How much do you have in the assets now currently? How much do you manage?
So we are not an asset manager per se. So we have our own securitization vehicle where we manage assets. We have the tokenization business. Actually, I wouldn't know a number, but it's a few billion what we tokenized.
Billion. I'm going to say it once more. Billion. That's
Yeah.
incredible.
So last year we did 3 billion tokenization of a Middle East commodity business.
What type of commodity?
It was copper and nickel.
Mm-hmm.
So
Tokenized copper and nickel.
yeah, and actually tokenized were the shares on Nasdaq, but the
Okay.
underlying asset was copper and nickel, so a commodity. Yeah. So currently, it's the good thing is, and it's really interesting, until probably 6 to 8 months, everything was centralized with me. I'm the founder. So everything we did in the company was at some point back to me. Now we have we built a team. So I don't even know what projects we are doing anymore because the company is growing so fast. So that's why I couldn't say a concrete number because like every day we are signing new contracts, new clients. So we are now in a really good growth phase.
Can you walk me through like what does that like who kind of okay, you get a client, he wants to tokenize some Nasdaq assets. Okay, like can you walk me through because I'm not so familiar with this and I can imagine maybe some listeners also like what is this talking about billion something. Can you walk me through like the simple use case? Okay, how does your client make money and how do you make money from those deals or what kind of value are you creating to the marketplace? How does it work?
So probably just zooming out, tokenization, the token is a medium of transport for rights and obligations to an asset. Give an example, real estate. So our first project in 2018 or 19 was a Berlin real estate. So we tokenized, I think, 2 million real estate, and people could invest 500 euros and own a square meter of a Berlin real estate.
I wish I knew about it back then.
But they didn't own it per se. They owned a token
They
that
owned
represents...
the token and the token represented an obligation and right to the asset, yes. It was not real ownership in the land register.
Right? Yeah, it's kind of weird. I need to trust the token to even buy something like that, right?
But the good part is that it buys a part of it, like an apartment, but you have just a part of it. It's like an investment.
Yeah, so the idea was I cannot afford an apartment, I cannot afford a whole house, but I can afford a square meter or two, So it opens up an asset class to a certain level of investors who might have 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 euros to invest. Okay. So this was the idea. It's similar to crowdfunding.
Okay, got it. Okay, makes sense. And then how do the people who tokenize make some value from it, and how do you as a service provider make some value out of it?
Yeah, so the issuer who tokenizes its property or asset, it's mostly for fundraising purposes. So they get investment in.
And you get a fee? Like what's the percentage typically?
Yeah, we take a fee. Our business model is we take a structuring fee, a fixed fee, and then on the raised capital, we take a transaction fee, basis points or 1-2%. It depends on the volume and the asset class. It's similar to Lehman scale. So the higher the volume, the lower the fees. For example, last year we tokenized a 500 million UBS money market fund. So there we're talking basis points. It's
interesting. And that the people who kind of do it, they do it basically to raise money for their projects or some. That's the most use case.
Yes.
So if
90%.
it's real estate, then also in order to build that real estate.
Yeah. So there's a developer, an owner, and he has some capital. He has probably a loan from the bank, but he needs more core capital. So we take an equity, we tokenize that. He can do a bigger project or refinance himself, take out his equity risk. Different models.
What's the difference between? I had some guests here who are doing like an IPO. They're basically or they're selling obligations of the company, right, to raise money. What's the difference in those use cases to this tokenization thing?
So regulatory wise or legal wise, no real difference.
Okay.
So legally we are issuing equity or a debt like a bond or something. But compared to an IPO, it's much more easier to have a token offering than going to a stock exchange. So it's an easy way into the market. Lower costs, lower compliance.
Lower compliance, I wouldn't even.
I mean, it's still a lot of compliance, but it's not,
less than that.
It's
right?
less. If you're doing a full IPO, you have like, you're spending hundreds of thousands dollars for lawyers and investment banks, and with a token offering, you have a similar outcome, but with much less costs.
Now I understand. This is what makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, like I'm a big business. I could do the IPO or I could do this. This has lower costs, similar outcome.
So, for example, we're currently looking at the project in Ireland. There's a landowner who owns a lot of pubs.
Back to sheeps.
Back to sheep. A lot of pubs in Dublin. And he wants to tokenize them to refinance the property. And the idea is we put QR codes in the pubs, and people can scan and say, okay, I want to have a portion of this pub. Want to invest there.
What's the legal kind of because I can imagine, hey, okay, I have a company, and if my company is registered in Latvia, I give shares, let's say, to Charlotte, and I know there's Latvian law that she can get the shares back or some value of those shares. But with this, it seems like voodoo. Like, is there gonna something happen, or is there any law enforcements that are?
No, legal wise, it's the same. So you need to have either a capital market prospectus if you do a retail offering. So legal wise, it's the same. You still need to get approvals from the regulator, or you have a full legal documentation.
Okay.
So it's not a voodoo.
It's not like this. Okay.
Yeah, it's just like the settlement process is much more easier and everything is digitalized. So it's way more effective.
Why? How come? Because then the shares would be settled into in the form of a token into my digital wallet.
Yes, and then you can trade it. And yeah,
I think there's so much. I'm a little fan of this. I think there's so much potential, but there's so much education needed for the market. But is so interesting. People are still questioning if it's a hype or not. But hearing your stories and the amount what your fund is managing in the tokenized assets only, it's like the answer is clear.
So hype, there was never a hype around security tokenization. Why? Because it's a regulated business. We had an NFT hype. We had ICO hype.
ICO, what initial?
Initial coin offerings. It was like 2008, this utility token. I would say 90% scam.
And many influencers did it.
Yeah. So a lot of people made a lot of money, and a lot of people lost a lot of money. So, but there was never a hype in security tokens, what we are doing, because it's completely regulated. So this was also that's why the last years were really a challenge, because we needed to really do the groundwork. We needed to get everyone on board, the banks, the institutionals, the investors, the issuers.
Mm-hmm.
What right now is kind of maybe the opportunity that, okay, you're talking about this, you're saying that this is like people are understanding the value of this, they're going to do more maybe of these things. What are maybe the business cases or solutions you are looking at? Or yeah, this is a good business to start right now because of this and this and this. What are maybe some of those good ideas which somebody could build now, start now to get into the space if they're looking to that for that?
So there are two things. When we started, it was all about tech.
Okay.
So there were a lot of companies developing the blockchain solutions or own blockchains or any tokenization platforms, etc. We said our thesis was, when you open an investment bank, you're not programming your core banking system yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Tech is a commodity. You buy it. So that's why we focused on
Or
regulation.
rent it.
Or rent it. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but you're not developing it yourself. So this was what we did. So we focused on regulation. Fast forward to today, we see the market opportunity. A lot of companies are struggling with European regulations now. We have MiCA in place. So I see a lot of companies going out of business because they cannot afford the regulation anymore.
MiCA regulation
Markets
is the
and
one.
crypto assets.
So the one which regulates crypto
Yeah,
related.
the core crypto.
Mhm.
It's not applying to us. We are under the MiFID, which is for financial instruments
Mhm.
regulation. But we see a lot of companies going out of business because they cannot afford the compliance overhead anymore. You need to spend 500,000 a year for your compliance officer, your AML officer, whatsoever. You need to have all these people, and they're not making any money for you. They're just yeah. So there's an opportunity now, and we see also increased interest from in particular the US in buying companies in Europe and getting access to this to the regulation. Yeah, so this is the first thing. And what was the question?
Question is like, what kind of businesses are right now maybe the opportunity to build?
I mean, AI is obviously hot topic. It's also something we see in our business, how we can utilize artificial intelligence. It's a bit more tricky because it's, again, fully regulated. So we need to we cannot just plug in ChatGPT. But this is definitely something which is currently trending, and we see all of this AI assistance in the financial industry. So
the assistance for doing what? Maybe the trading side, you see it more as an opportunity, or some other aspects?
Trading, portfolio management, automatic rebalancing, something like that.
Now going back to you, I think many times some guests come to us, they typically have this story, hey, I finished school, drop out school, start business, make millions, be cool. But maybe
Easy.
in your case, it's like I guess a more normal case or a typical case. Like I guess you were top lawyer, Vienna, New York, Singapore, Kiev, working in big firms. And then what made you how was life then? Maybe how was life? Was it secure, cool, nice? And what then made you maybe start a business, or what happened?
It was completely a coincidence. So after my university,
You studied in Vienna.
Yeah, Vienna. I started in a law firm, and it was good education. I don't want to miss it, but I didn't really love it. It's like you're transacting other people's use cases. You're just it was okay, and I learned a lot, but I wasn't really happy. It was good money. And then I was at a conference, and at 2 a.m. in the morning in the club. I met the guy and we talked about venture capital. Totally drunk,
This is what conferences are about.
And we had a good conversation. And 2-3 weeks later, he called me if I want to start working for him in investment banking or investment managing his venture fund. So that's how I quit the law firm. I said, okay, and this is in this position. Then I learned entrepreneurship, working with founders and startups every day. And this is where also my appetite for entrepreneurship developed, where I also, for the first time, looked into technology, 2014, 2015. And then end of 2017, I wanted to do something myself. So I started Black Manta and I wanted to try it out. But it was like a lot of coincidence. I didn't plan it. And also my family background, my father was a diplomat, so working for the government, so very solid, and my mother always said, okay, you should be a judge or something, you need
something stable, secure, understandable.
Secure, correct. So this is how I grew up. And I'm not sure if they're happy what I'm doing now, but
they don't dare to comment.
I needed to learn entrepreneurship.
Right. How many years were you working with this investment banking?
I'm still a shareholder there. I was, I think, 4 or 5 years operational, and so I started investing into startups. So I'm still doing that. I have my own very small family office, very opportunistic.
When you started your business, I have this. So I started basically also working like a job, and then I started to do something. And then I have one friend who is selling he's teaching indexes. He was also working Wall Street. He's like a very known guy in Latvia for investment advice. And he had like saved up, I think he told me like 2-3 years of living expenses. So if he started a business, he didn't even need to make money for like a year or two. So it would be fine. What was your case in that case when you started the business? Or had you like put your own money in like investing these like licenses or something?
I was lucky. I had an exit when I started the company, had a small exit. So I had no pressure to earning money. But we did revenue in month 2, so business was running good. So, but I had no pressure in getting this business profitable at the very beginning. Plus, we had free investors.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So even before we started the company, we had free investors, and they gave us $500,000 to start the company.
Why did they give you the money if you
it was interesting, back we had like a 3-pager just with the concept what we want to do.
3-pager.
Like
okay.
And back then, tokenization.
We have here 3 pages.
Yeah. It was really, and somehow they were convinced and they believed in us, and they gave us like $500,000, and it took us, I think 3 weeks to get the $500,000, and it took us 2 months to get a bank account.
Wow, why so long? Because of the idea? Like nobody
because
wanted to...
when we told the bank, okay, we want to do some blockchain-based business,
stuff,
it was really hard.
Yeah, and it was 2018, right?
Yeah.
It was after the crisis or before the crisis?
I don't know.
It's more time frame.
Yeah.
Okay.
But blockchain was bad. It was scam, and so it was. And funny thing, like the money was lying around on my personal bank account, and
difficult for me. I'm like, oh,
no one asked. No one asked. My bank didn't ask. Why are the
Swiss bank or
Austrian bank? But $500,000 in and out. It was interesting because
okay, interesting. I'm like, this is a hot topic. So people start a business, and as I understand, when you started, like your first job was Singapore Princess, I would say a high ticket consulting job or advisory job, right? But I think the issue, and I want your thinking about it, is to ask enough or to have something that is high value, right? That is worth maybe somebody to pay 50,000, 100,000 for a consulting job. So I'm thinking, and I want to ask you, like, what was your kind of thinking in your own business because you're starting a new business, like how to price yourself, how to be okay to ask money, and what was the first kind of deal size or what you kind of closed?
Yeah, pricing is a difficult topic. Indeed. The first deal we made was like the first advisory job was, I think, 200K.
Yeah, but that seems like a lot for just consulting.
And, in the end, it was a PowerPoint presentation we delivered. it was nuts. It was good for us.
But behind that presentation is all the knowledge which you've accumulated.
A lot of research
obviously.
and everything. But it always depends who is your counterparty.
Who's the customer? You mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
If it's a big corporate or something, they don't care if it's 10, 20, 50K. So what I learned in particular in Asia is the higher the price, the more likely they will engage you. I give you an example. We had a Chinese customer, or we have a Chinese partner, and we are doing some business in China. And the first offer was, I say, like 20,000. And we send it to our Chinese partner, say, hey, this is what we would offer for this service in Austria. And he said, hey, no, it's way too low. Add a zero. So we made from 20,000, we did 200,000. But the same service. But for them, for the Chinese, it was important that if it's expensive, it's good. Yeah. And you need a fancy presentation, and you need to market yourself that you're the best and exclusive. A lot of bullshit. It was bullshit bingo.
Bullshit bingo.
Yeah,
Love it.
but it's and it worked.
Can you give me like 3 bullet points of what you're gonna get? Like, because this is a very hot topic for me personally, because right now, so we're offering this, like, we're developing a new offer, what we want to sell, which is like AI implementation in your business. So we'll build you an AI team that does your marketing and kind of helps you assist with your sales. So we want to sell that, right? And the core 3 bullet points, what we would say is, hey, you're going to save time, money, and effort because you don't need any freelancers or agencies because it's going to do it for you. Second thing, it's going to be accurate and working 24/7 as long as you have credits in the API or access to the top topics. And third, it will do as you want and you can edit it as many times as you want. And it will report to you anything you need. So those are the three value bullet points. Now, I wanted to ask you, for this first job, what are maybe the 3 value bullet points you said that would make sense to buy this service?
Our service, you mean?
Yes, for not the first deal. What was, like, maybe you can give me an example.
So the advantage we had is that no one had a clue. So the first deals were all advisory deals, consulting, and no one had a clue about blockchain, and so we sold our knowledge.
Because you were basically the only fish who does this job.
Yeah, there were not too many around. And our advantage was that we were not like this young startup out of university and just doing something. We came from capital markets. We understood traditional business, and we just reframed it. So this was the advantage we had.
Okay. Anything else maybe comes to mind? Or how is it changing now? Could you get the similar clients who want advisory nowadays in the AI landscape where you can actually like ask AI how that looks right now?
Advisory only in the regulated markets. For example, we are now doing a stock exchange listing. So we are helping a company to get listed on a Vienna stock exchange.
Oh, okay.
So this is something you cannot do with ChatGPT.
So that's like services, I would say, right?
Yeah. So this is what we do in advisory. Otherwise, we provide tech. So we have a platform. We provide tech services. We have the regulation side. But you're completely correct. I think advisory business is getting extremely hard because everyone is.
You can just ask, and it will have good source data, right? Yeah.
But not that much of credibility, I think, and so that's where you still come in. But how did you back then in those years? How come that you were an expert of blockchain? Like, how did you get to this knowledge? What convinced you back then that there is actually a business case? Like, this is going to roll?
As a lawyer, I have no touch points with tech. So
Yeah.
what I did back then is I took a course at Berkeley University,
Online course.
online
Love it.
blockchain fundamentals to understand the tech, and that was sufficient, because with that it was very high level. It was not coding or something, but just like understanding how it works in general. But I was I was far ahead of everyone else.
Proactively educating yourself, kind of. I've
And
done these courses on
everyone
Yale.
was interested. If we talk to banks or corporates or any other institutions, no one closed the door. Everyone was interested. They didn't act, so it was not. We didn't do a lot of business at the very beginning, because everyone was very, hesitant and looking, but everyone was interested.
Yeah.
So it was, the first years were, I would say, 70% or 80% was education.
What right now is maybe like a blockchain? Back then that was the hot new topic. What is right now in the crypto space? What is that thing? Is there something like that?
I think currently is stable coins is a very hot topic. We have a lot of projects in the European Union, but also in the States. I think this will be a major competition the next few months, and it will be very interesting to see which stable coins will
kind of survive.
Yeah. We also see the first ones like dying and then closing again.
Because the thing that currently is that the European Central Bank has announced that they want to have those stable coins issued for local governments in order to reduce the dependency from the states and perhaps China. So if there is a day zero, so everything shuts down, you cannot do any payments with your phone, with your card. So stablecoin would be able to come in and replace that. But there are also other use cases.
So there are two major use cases. The one is the day-to-day use case, how we would use it to buy things or to settle things in a crypto wallet. What currently institutional do, and for example, Citibank, they have their own coin, or JP Morgan, they have an internal stable coin for internal settlement. So for example,
it's cheaper.
If they send from Singapore to New York, I don't know, 1 million, it took 3 days. The SWIFT. Now it's stablecoin is within seconds.
Those cross-border payments take time.
Internal settlements are now atomic. It's in real time, and this is a huge advantage. It saves resources. It's cost effective. So the internal use for institutions is a big change now. This is where we see it the most.
So that's actually also an opportunity.
That's why all the big investment banks or institutions are having their own stable coins or working on them. It's not for the retail client. It's for internal use, for settlement.
Let's go to our rapid fire and closing part. Let's something more fun. We were talking about the sheeps. Maybe some listeners didn't understand what the sheeps were. I was asking Alex, what is the weirdest thing that somebody has asked you to tokenize? So we were laughing, maybe somebody's sheeps. But okay, what is some weird projects people could come? Hey, can we do this?
So basically, at the very beginning, there were, at all the blockchain conferences, there were panels with tokenization of everything. So in the end, you can tokenize everything. We always focused on certain asset classes. No one asked us to tokenize sheep. So probably we had, I don't know, cars or something, art. But it's there's no real fun story on the asset underlying.
Just so I'm clear, let's say I have like a factory. I'm like, I want to tokenize it. So what's my cost to doing it? Like approximately. Let's say I want to issue 1 million worth of shares of my tokens of my thing. Like how much cost should I kind of?
Depends on you if you're going retail. So for the
let's say retail, everybody.
I would say with 20 to 30K.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it's very.
Interesting.
That's
Cool.
affecting.
Cool. Next one. If you had right now 100,000 and you needed to invest it, I guess, in the way how it could make the most returns in the next 5 years, where would you invest it and why?
Uh, my lawyer advised me not to give any investment recommendations. But personally, I have my crypto portfolio, which is like not looking good at the moment.
But no one's crypto portfolio is looking good now.
So personally, I'm doing a lot of ETFs, very traditional. But I'm also not the gambler. So I'm a long-term investor. I'm not this day-to-day trader.
We had this chief investment officer for Blue Orange Bank. It's a European bank. He was very keen on buying and investing in gold mining companies. What do you think about that market or that kind of segment?
A lot of interest. So we tokenized a gold mine in Australia 2 years ago.
Wow.
Okay.
We currently have a few gold projects also in our portfolio. Super interesting because like the project we did was, we didn't tokenize the gold, but the mining rights.
The mining rights.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
So
Tokenized mining rights, not even the mining itself, but
the rights to mine gold, and therefore you
Jesus.
got like a discount on the spot price. Once the gold is mined, you got 10 or 20% on the spot price if you want to sell it.
Oh, interesting.
So you could put yourself into the mining position. No.
Next one, you have to start over. What type of business do you start right now in 2026?
Something with AI, I guess.
With AI?
Yeah.
Maybe you could do AI.
But I'm more looking into retirement.
Already?
No. Yeah. No, the thing is, we're currently also having some discussions with potential buyers. So we're looking to sell the company potentially. But I love my job. I don't want to do anything else. So what I really don't want to do, there are two things. I don't want to work for a US corporate. And no, I don't want to be an employee again. I love the freedom we have at our company. We have a very, how to say, flexible structure. Everyone can come and go when he wants. So it's very a liberal mindset, I would say. So I tell my people, I don't care if you're sitting on the beach and do your work, or if you're in the office. In the end, the work needs to be done. But how you do it, it's up to you.
How do you keep maybe some KPIs, or how do you kind of make sure that things get done? Because people can abuse those liberal.
It's possible because we're still small. 15 people, so I can manage it. But this is exactly a challenge we will have when we further grow.
I think that this kind of freedom comes with cost, right? And it's based on trust on a big level. And it's just, I think the KPIs, just if nothing moves, then you're going to be fired. You're going to, you're not going to be there anymore. So yeah. But I was promoting for my own freedom here.
So and I also try to motivate the team. So for example, last year I invited everyone. We went to Oktoberfest in Munich. We had the table. We already booked for this year. So we try to have these corporate events and everyone's flying in.
That's cool. What do you do for fun? Like, what do you do? What kind of sports do you do? Any?
I would like to do more sports. I like skiing, obviously, as an Austrian.
Austria, right? You can ski like 24, like all throughout the whole year, right? Or no?
In summer, it's difficult.
Ah, yeah? Okay. I thought the mountains are always like with snow.
Yeah, it depends on the classic. Oh. But yeah, that's
cool. How would you? I think maybe the last one.
The last one.
We're like, how would you describe to somebody? Because I think you're in Latvia, not first time, right?
It's my first time.
First time.
Yeah, so I was so excited to come here because and wanted to see the city and everything.
Okay, okay. What is something that maybe you have seen in the German entrepreneurial space, Austria entrepreneurial space, and many other places where we in Latvia, in the Eastern Europeans, we need to kind of learn from them to kind of play the ball in a bigger level or move the business forward quicker? Or what are some of the...
Actually, it's the other way around. So in Austria or Germany, we are over-regulated. So starting a business is like extremely expensive. You need, it's difficult. It's not easy. And what the Baltics did years back, you attracted a lot of fintechs. You made the governmental process very, very easy to get. It was a straightforward process to get licenses to open a company. You have this e-citizenship, I think.
Estonia. Lithuania did this, and now Latvia is trying to optimize.
But you're rethinking, the existing models and trying to attract the businesses. And while we in Central Europe, we are stuck in our old mindset. So if I would not have my family in Austria, I love Austria and I love where I'm living, but I would move. I would live somewhere else because it's very difficult to do business.
There's the saying, to close it up, that the States innovates, Asia copies or something, and Europe over-regulates.
That's a good one. I haven't heard that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
But let's aim to innovate as well.
Yeah. What we would recommend you to do, so go to nice restaurants. In Latvia, we have very nice food.
We love food.
Yeah, food is very good. I also have been in those places, but this food in Latvia is really great. We recommend go to Snatch, because that restaurant owner we want to also get to the podcast. So he maybe hears, like, oh my God, they mentioned me. So, okay, there's a cool restaurant here. Maybe do you have some other plans? What you want to do here? Because
I'm only here today and tomorrow and flying out on Friday morning. And tomorrow's conference.
And the clubs, I think, are closed today.
Yeah,
Not working.
But there are a lot of meetings. Nice. There's this conference, right? Which you came for.
We have a dinner tonight.
There's VIP dinner
hopefully
tonight.
We can go out. I mean,
need to do it. Go to restaurants. Okay.
Because those best conversations happen at 2 a.m.
Yeah, totally.
Cool. Thank you for coming, Alex.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for the invite.
Cool. That's it. Let's wrap.